Standard Charter sees Bitcoin sliding to $50,000, slashing their previous targets, Ether to $1,400 before recovery. And then we have this fun news article. Crypto lender BlockFills, never heard of it before either, suspends withdrawals for clients in latest blow to the blockchain sector. Kind of sounds like BlockFi and Celsius, doesn't it? And if you guys have been paying attention, Binance has been coming under the microscope lately because in the last 7 days, there has been $1 billion of withdrawals from the exchange. Interestingly enough, we can see where that money is going to Bitfinex, to OKX. Okay, sure. Going to Huobi. It's really, really interesting. And then we get updates like this, where yesterday's fear and greed index hit 5. This is an insane level because the last time that it hit 5 was probably 2018. I'm not kidding you. So a lot of you have been asking, Aaron, buddy, I get it. You're doom and papa now. I don't like the alter ego. You really think Bitcoin can get to $31,000? Did you guys not watch Michael Saylor's interview with CNBC laughing off his liquidation price? You guys paying attention to this stuff? So I want to first start off with, yes, we're in a bottom year. We're going to see other companies, other DATs, a digital asset treasury, starts to declare bankruptcy, or they're going to say, sorry, you can't withdraw your coins because they're over levered and they are basically bankrupt and they're just not telling anyone. We're going to see exchanges collapse as well, which is why you should always distribute your funds across multiple exchanges. And better yet, just keep it on an offline wallet. Put it on a cold wallet, a ledger, Trezor, whatever you want it to do, even a paper wallet. Bear markets are when contagion spreads, when fear runs rampant, and we're going to see the market fall a lot lower. Now, I need to go over this again. Artificial supports are the best way to identify the next target for BTC. Is Bitcoin going to hit $31,804.20? I don't know. Could it go lower than that? Anything is possible. Not everything is likely, but to be completely honest with you and raw with you, yes, it actually could go down to $24,800. But do I think that's possible? No, I don't. So I made a couple of comments in the last video that got a couple of you concerned or worried. And the reason why I got you worried is obvious because Bitcoin falling, this week alone, it's down 6%. We've already seen in the last 3 weeks, 3 weeks, Bitcoin fell 36%. And you guys are probably wondering, wait, you're telling me it's going to drop more? Yes, I am, because the same exact thing happened over here in 2022. Again, it's frustrating for you guys. I know it is, but I need you to hear the truth. We had so many of these same artificial levels of support that were all systematically taken out over and over and over until finally Bitcoin bottomed out. We will know when Bitcoin bottoms out, by the way, when we have a long lower wick on a candle with a lot of volume, like we did back over here on the 13th of June. This was our bottoming wick. Massive, crazy drop of 22% with a lower wick of 14%. That is the kind of devastating wick that we're going to see that's going to go, okay, bottom's in. Note, weekly RSI was also extremely oversold at 12. Going ahead to where we are now, we're at 15.96. Okay? Now, we do have a pretty crazy long lower wick. I'm not going to lie. That's a 14% lower wick, but the candle closes only 8%. I think we're going lower. The other reason why I think we're going lower is because we have only fallen from our top at 126 down here to 60K of 52%. And if we measure out BTC's average drop from every single previous bear market, we know that it has gotten less and less. And we're just going to do approximates here because I don't have the patience to use the magnet, okay? But you're going to notice it. You're going to see it, okay? So if we look at the drawdown, or as my AI calls it, degradation, for every single cycle, you can understand why I think 75% is a good target for BTC, which is why I keep coming up with this $31,000 level. Back over here, the 2014, 2015 low, 87% drawdown. Over here, 2017 to 2018, 84% drawdown. So it's less. 2021 to 2022, 77% drawdown. So a 75% drawdown seems reasonable. If we're going to be real sticklers about this, we have about 2% difference-ish. We have a 7% difference. So if we have a 2% difference, it would be 75%. A 7% difference would be 70% at around 37 or 38K. All right? Now, here's the important thing you need to pay attention to. You'll notice on this chart, we've only fallen 52%. This is mainly why I think we're going to be going lower. But the important thing is not exactly which price, but where I'm looking to start inching in. And I've already told you guys where. I believe we're going to take 60K out soon. I don't know about right now this week. Probably not. We'll probably chop for a while. We're going to take out 49K. Once Bitcoin starts to get around here at 38K, in this range, below 40K, this is where I am going to start building my portfolio, with the full understanding that for Bitcoin, it could still fall lower, which is exactly what happened in 2022. It fell another 15% lower. So inching in here, being prepared to buy down here at 31K, maybe at 24K if things get really rough, which I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that these are all reasonable targets, but not up here, because we haven't had enough drawdown yet. Another thing to consider as well is that we have some pretty nasty support and resistance levels that you have to see. If we were to draw support and resistance from our 2018 low to our COVID low, that's a level we're most likely never going to hit or see again, because this was a black swan event, okay? But we can't retrofit this and ignore price action to go like this, because if we do, trust me, you're not going to like that either, because we're about to break it. So let's take it this way. Let's take this level, the 2020 low, up here to this low in 2022. Problem. We've already broken it. We've already broken support. Now, there's another chart that I could show you, but I don't want to get into it. The main thing is that I'm looking at so many good levels of support down at that range too. We're going to go to the Bitstamp chart. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I think it's important that you guys see it. For starters, here's our support and resistance for a long term, by the way. So this has been broken. This is a really weak level. This is the next level that would most likely be hit, which is going to be right here, all-time low to all-time low, approximately this week in October, around here. And what's wild is that it could fall down to some disgustingly low level, which would be terrible. One thing we haven't seen yet is Bitcoin has not put in a lower low in terms of all after hitting a new all-time high, right? I don't expect that to happen. I think another reason why 21K-ish could be possible. Can we all just take for just a second how ridiculous this is? I want to get this exact level. I'm just going to clean up the chart just to show you this. Okay, yep, that one's gone. That one's gone. That one's gone. Perfect. This is a very long-term level. I want you to see what this price is right here. If we actually play this out and we think about the fact that we have support right here on this ray. So is it possible for Bitcoin to go down as low as $24,000? To be honest, it is. I don't expect it to happen though, and I'm not waiting for that fixed target. Why? Because it's very, very risky. And I want to show you why. When we had our bear, and I'm going to go back to my other chart because it's not as cluttered. When we go back to the previous bear market, everyone thought there's no way that Bitcoin is going to fall below the previous all-time high. So people were going like, okay, I'm going to buy right here, right? There's no way. And it fell lower and people probably panicked short term and they sold. But that was still a great entry at 20K. I've talked about this many times. All right. The same thing applies now if we're thinking about these artificial supports. Even all these artificial supports that were lost, buying Bitcoin at 28K, even though it still fell down 46%, you still made money. As it put in these lower lows and it went below that 19K or whatever, 20K, you still made money. Even up here at the first support, if you just held at 33K, yes, it would take you 600 days to be break even, but you still made money. I'm not suggesting, nor am I implying that I'm going to be buying at every single one of these support levels. I'm not. But what I'm going to be waiting for is for the price to fall down a lot more. So that way, once we start to break below 40, this is where I start inching in. That's the way I'm trading this market. You don't have to do it the same way I am. Another reason why I'm waiting is because we are now below the weekly cloud, just like we were back over here in June 2022. And we saw Bitcoin fall another 35% from there. If we see the same thing, a 35-ish percent from there, that means down to 45K. So we're getting close to that level, actually breaking below that level of 40-something K. And here you can see it also dropped another 11%. So going down that 45, dropping another 11% would put us around here, 38K. Okay, do you guys kind of see? And again, this is pretty loose. No, not loose, flimsy, because I'm basing it off of just one bear market drawdown for visual sake. Okay, so I'm not trying to be a perma-bear. I'm trying to be a realist. I'm trying to look at both sides. I'm trying to look at all the data. I do believe that we will bottom out. I do believe that we'll be able to scoop up Bitcoin at a great price. I do believe that Bitcoin is still worth buying, even if it only bottoms out here at 39K and it only goes up to $150,000. Because we know that Bitcoin is the most resilient in terms of drawdown. Can we make way more money trading alts? Absolutely. But when the time is right, and it will be soon, but not yet. Ethereum. Now, Ethereum had a green close yesterday, which felt good a little bit, but to be honest, everything is still strong bearish. We have new FUD on the table, which is never ever going to help things feel really good. Am I right? With Standard Charter lowering their prices, with this, block fills, never heard of it, but the Binance FUD isn't helping things either. So I still expect Ethereum and everything else to go lower. The same concept applies for Ethereum. Nothing is different. Nothing has changed. Ethereum has targets at 1385, then at 1073, then all the way down here to 881. Again, we usually don't see these, or at least Ethereum. And Ethereum's still really new, by the way. Well, Ethereum has seen many different markets, okay? We haven't seen it put in a low after a new high lower than the previous low, right? Everything has just been making this jagged move up higher. So hopefully it bottoms out around $1,000, right? There's also the possibility of a long-term channel. Let me show you. So we have kind of a positive thing that you could maybe argue. If Ethereum happened to fall down here to the bottom of the range, while it would make a lot of people feel really uncomfortable for Ethereum to get down here to $900, this is technically a bullish flag, a bull flag. And the reason why is because bull flags don't always have to be pointing down like this. They can be sideways. It's because the price came up to the resistance. It's chopping sideways. If it falls down, it has a good potential to break above resistance and push up higher. That's what a flag should do. A bull flag, because it's coming from below, okay? But that's like over here. That's like 2029. And we are in 2026. That's 3 years out, okay? So that's really preemptive to call that. But I still expect Ethereum to suffer a lot of drawdown, to be heading down here to 1385, 1073. Now, if you're really bullish on Ethereum, you might want to wait. And again, this is my opinion. I won't be touching Ethereum personally because it's just severely underperformed. I could be paying the price for that later in the future, but I don't know yet. But the main thing is that once it gets down here at around $1,000-ish, this would be a good area to start accumulating, preparing yourself to go lower. What does that mean? I keep saying that, but I'm not explaining. I just caught myself too. Sorry, sometimes I go into professional's amnesia. This is a great term that another teacher who has moved on to a different school shared with me when I was just getting started out. He said, beware of professional's amnesia. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, when you do something so well, you know it like the back of your hand. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do lesson plans. Shh, don't tell my head of school. I don't. Because I do jazz. Jazz is easy. I'm serious, I do. But the whole idea of professionals' amnesia is that you know something so well that you just kind of fly by, you just pump out all these acronyms without taking the time to make sure that everybody understands and is up to your level of understanding. So if you're going to get to the level of teaching people stuff, this is encouragement because a lot of you are probably teachers watching this or can be teachers. That if you know a skill really well and you want to teach it, you want to do a YouTube channel, you want to trade, you want to teach other people how to trade or invest, you've learned a lot. The main thing you need to do is to take everything that you've learned and you need to find a way to express it and to explain it without assuming that everyone knows exactly what you're saying. Once you can do that, you've unlocked the matrix, the cheat code, okay? So what I'm talking about building a position, waiting for these levels, is I'm talking about incrementally buying. So let's say that I'm going to start buying some here, and I'm going to use a DCA strategy. I'm going to use 3 orders. So this is going to be, just to make it super duper easy, this is lot 1. So let's say that I'm very bullish on Ethereum. I want to place my lot 1 order here. Oh, come on. Stop messing with me. There we go. So lot 1 is right here about 1385. That would mean that I'm not going all in here at all. That's the dumbest thing that you could possibly do, okay? That's not what I'm recommending. What I am saying, though, is that you would have these incrementally larger lots. So then you're going to put your second lot here and your third lot around here. And to be honest, these lots should be just above the previous support level because there's no guarantee it's going to hit this exact level, okay? Now, when it comes to this lot sizing, a lot of you approach DCA numerically. This is $100, this is $200, this is $300. You're almost there. DCA, real dollar cost averaging, martingale style, which is a fantastic strategy. It's dangerous if you're not buying at the right times, like starting right here is foolish. Waiting for really panicky, scared markets, that's the time to buy. We're almost there. We're not there yet, though. But the idea of this DCA martingale style is that you actually want to double down. So instead of this being lot 1, this is lot like 1 out of 7. And this is lot 2, which is going to be 1 plus 2 is now going to be 3 out of your 7 sevenths, okay? And then finally, we have your 7 sevenths, okay? So this is order 1, order 2, order 4. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. So this is the way that I use bots to trade, and it works really well. One of the other reasons why this works really well is that you don't go all in here. Once you add more, you're adding twice as much at a much lower price. You actually average down your entry, and by doubling down again, you average it down way more so that you're not sure where the price is going to bottom out. And I'm not sure either. I have some good targets, but I'm never going to be 100% confident or certain. But the point of this explanation is that you can apply this to everything and anything. Waiting for max fear, max pain, everyone's giving up hope, everyone's quitting crypto, views are down across videos, which you guys are still watching and I'm thankful for. I really am, but I'm expecting that to drop as well because that's what happens in a bear market, in a bottom year. But in terms of trading, not going all in on the first dump, as you can see, that's paying dividends right now because here's the first drop. Where's the price now? 26% lower. Here's that next support level. Where's the price? 9% lower. Get ready for a lot lower. So scaling in gradually with a DCA strategy, 1/7, 3/7, 7/7, or $100, $200, $400, or $10,000, $20,000, $40,000, that works really well for me. That's what I teach in our courses. That has been a very reliable way for me to trade the market with the belief and the understanding that once the price bounces up, you de-risk. And now I'm giving away too much and I have to stop. Because if you guys want more, you know where to get it. I'll tell you later if you don't know. Stablecoin dominance. Remember our 2 TBO breakouts on the weekly time frame? Look at the percentage now, 11.45%. It's still extremely strong bullish on the daily time frame as expected. We're going to be going above 13. My target is not 13. My target is up here around 18%, which is an increase of about 60% more pain. For alts, Bitcoin dominance plunged yesterday on the daily time frame. This is really important because we are seeing a push to others, which again doesn't make sense when you look at the charts. Yes, totally 50.D, which represents the dominance percentage of the total E50 market cap, everything below the top 50 market cap in crypto, there was more of an allocation. So Bitcoin fell yesterday, but a lot of other charts were green. That's what this is telling us. And this is dangerous because people think, oh, the bottom's in. They're going to get wiped out. Look at this jump here on totally 100. This means that people are aping into low cap charts below the top 100 market cap. Again, super dangerous. Total 3ES, BTC. This is the problem. This is the disconnect. Many traders are ignoring the macro trend, which is very bearish. Yes, we're seeing a bounce off of support. Yes, we even have a TBT bullish divergence. We're right at the fast line. The last several times since January that this has happened, it's been rejected over here in early February, rejected in the middle of February, and here we are. Oh, sorry, this is middle of January, beginning of January, February, and now here we are again. The danger right here is a lot of traders, short-term traders, yes, some of these charts are performing better than Bitcoin. It's a risk right now to go into these charts that are super duper oversold. Just telling you. All right, you can do what you want to do. I'm just telling you, I'm not playing that way, okay? Now, we need to look at TradFi. Again, I don't know what it is, guys. I believe I am prophetic, spiritually prophetic, and that can manifest in the physical. And no, I'm not like on drugs or anything. I'm not taking peyote or whatever it's called. But the reality is that I've also learned how to identify weakness in charts. I've understood how to identify seasonality in charts. I'm continually trying to become a better version of myself when it comes to trading and investing, hence the better traders. I cannot tell you the definite, oh, this is why, or I received a revelation from the heavens. It wasn't like that. It's just this like gut, like I can't shake it. Something has been off for me for a while for the S&P. And S&P futures dropped yesterday 1.57%. I don't care what the reason is. I already know as well from TBT bearish divergence clusters, 3 of them on the weekly, something's not right. I already know from RSI that weekly RSI has been dangerously dropping lower and lower. This is not good. Eventually, this is going to plunge and plummet like it did back over here in March and April last year, because I still think that we're going to see a bear market for the S&P and also for the Dow, which also dropped yesterday, even though it put in a new all-time high, which is exciting. And it's still super strong bullish. I can't argue with those facts. I also can't, it's just something feels wrong and off. The NASDAQ took a big hit and now it's going to fall below the cloud, which is a sign of being super strong bearish. Again, same story with RSI, same story with on-balance volume, flashing these signs. The FANG index is looking really rough. We're actually going to be looking at Netflix in a minute, okay? It's actually oversold on the weekly, and we have a TBO close long. On the daily, it's dropping lower. Remember this TBO breakdown cluster I told you guys about? Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's super strong bearish. Okay, most likely because Netflix is dragging it down. The VIX, the volatility index of the S&P, keeps pushing up and gets swatted back down like, no, don't, there's nothing to worry about. It's literally trying to like dust away the issue, the problems, like, no, or like hide it, conceal it. So every single time it drops like this, I got real suspicious. All these moves where it just goes like here, the 21st of January, it just goes from 20 all the way down here to 15. It's like, that's weird. Then have all these pumps here on the 2nd of February, almost at 20, drops right back down to 16. Then on Thursday, the 5th, up here at 22, drops all the way back down to 17. Something is not right. Something is really weird right now. Okay? Now, if we look at individual stocks, we know that NVIDIA is in a trapped range, and it has been for a while. We also know that there's a little bit of it's not as super bullish as people think. Yes, RSI could pull a big push up higher, a recovery bounce. Yes, there's a demand for NVIDIA because of AI. I fully believe that. So they're in demand. They're not going to go anywhere in terms of chips processing and stuff like that, but they're also not immune. As we know from back over here in April, right? We saw that big dip. The other thing I need to point out again is that this TBO cloud keeps compressing. It's still about 2%. We measure the bottom to the top. That's a bad sign in that there's going to be some explosive outcome, very similar to what happens with the Bollinger Band squeeze. Tesla, even though it pushed out above, not out, above overhead resistance, it got rejected yesterday pretty harshly, by the way. There aren't really, the weekly is still struggling, especially weekly RSI is looking really rough. We already lost support. It's most likely going to head down here and lower. So there is support for Tesla down here at about 315. I feel like I'm so sophisticated because I don't say Tesla anymore. Tesla, it's Tesla. I don't know how to say it. I can't remember it. Forget it. GameStop. This one I pointed out in the Better Traders Club. We kept seeing this pattern here with RSI getting kind of close to overbought or being overbought, and that was a pivot point. Back over here in December 2024, pivot point or pivot high. May 2025, pivot high. September 2025, pivot high. And then unfortunately, last week, pivot high, and it's falling back down below this long-term overhead resistance level. The Nikkei, not terrible, but it is having a slight pullback after hitting a new all-time high. Gold had a big rejection yesterday of 3%. That's a big deal. And it went down to the cloud. It opened in the cloud. It's back in, it's struggling with the cloud, which means it's in consolidation mode. Silver printed a fourth TBO close long. This is a massively bearish signal, you guys. This is a big deal. It also fell back down to the 272. It's going to take a long time for silver to get the momentum it needs to really push up higher. This is a pretty big dent in the rally. Copper as well has two TBO close longs. This first one is from Thursday last week, and this next one was from yesterday after a 3% move. So again, there are signs of weakness flashing not just for crypto, but it's also flashing over here in TradFi. The best thing that you can do is invest in your education. I still think that this is a great time to trade. Whether you're going short on the market, which I have some short positions I'll share with you in a little bit as I get to them. But even so, you don't need to short the market. You don't even need leverage to trade this market. You just need to know how to position yourself, how to protect your portfolio at all costs. All the stuff I talk about in the Better Traders Journal, which I keep talking about, it's back on print on demand, all that fun stuff. But the TBO is also going to be one of your best things that you can use. The TBO indicator is fantastic. I'm using it for all my analysis for good reason. It identifies the strength of the trend, upcoming reversals, breakouts, breakdowns, all that fun stuff, support and resistance. It's great. And yes, the journal will also help you out a lot. And you can get it print on demand here on Amazon. If you do order it and you like it, consider leaving us a review. That'd be awesome. And if you're looking for an exchange to use that's non-KYC requiring, as in they don't need you to basically tell them who you are, and you can deposit, withdraw up to $50,000 a day legally without using a VPN, 2bit's the one, and they also integrate with AllTrading. All right, I want to go back over here. I have some charts I want to share with you, my picks, but I know that you guys have your own picks. So for those of you that have your own picks, please leave a comment down below, add the $sign, so that way it's easier for me to understand. If you are requesting a stock, if you could just help me and just say stocks or something like that, so I can figure out, because sometimes like new tickers in crypto are also tickers in stocks. So like I'm not gonna know for sure, apparently. But if you're gonna do that, make sure if you're gonna request, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and consider reposting, retweeting, sharing, emailing, Telegram, send it out via psychokinesis. Is that what it's called? My gosh. All you mentalists, just kind of make people subscribe, okay? All right, let's get into it. Aster is on a roll. I'm very impressed. On balance volume is picking up a lot. We've seen so many green candles. Every single green candle with volume means that on balance volume moves up higher. And the moving average is also starting to curl up. It's been above the cloud since Wednesday. It's now moving up to this next target, which is the 382 level at 80 cents. That's great. The immediate resistance level is around 91, 92 cents here, and this is a long-term overhead resistance level. The reason why these two are here, by the way, is because they're light blue because of TBO breakouts. Now, I'm still conflicted because these TBO breakouts are kind of happening a little bit late. So they could be exhaustion breakouts, but the momentum is clearly with it still. On balance volume on the 4 hour is good. RSI is still good on the 4 hour. The daily time frame is really good. Now, Pippin, this is one that is, look at this, actually. The price wicked into TBO resistance yesterday, and it fell back down about 6%. I have a position still open for Pippin, believe it or not. Now it's like teasing me because it almost got stopped out. Literally, the high here was at 0.55511. My stop loss is at 0.55598. So I'm still at risk of getting stopped out, not liquidated. There's a big difference. But again, I'm looking at this chart going, well, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, it's super duper overbought. It's very overextended from the fast line by 60%. It's also right at resistance and it's struggling right there. If I look at RSI, it made a high yesterday of 81.98, which did not exceed the previous high on the 15th of December at 83.77. That is most likely an indication that this one is topped out. Now, the bullish side of this is that on-balance volume is very bullish. That's undeniable. Volume in general is good. There's volume behind the move. Great. But is there a sustained move at play? I don't think so. And the 4-hour time frame shows a TBO breakout printed last night, Thursday at 9 p.m., which is interesting. This is most likely going to be an exhaustion breakout. Why? The price pumped almost 200% and now it's printing a breakout at the very top of the move. Not likely. All right. That's most likely going to be an exhaustion breakout. We could still see it push up higher, but this is most likely it for Pippin. At least that's what I would say. On the hourly, we're also getting TBT bearish divergence clusters, drawing our attention even more to this, saying, you might want to just consider if you're in a long position, you might want to at least scale out a little bit, just a little bit. All right, Jasmy is here because of TBO closed shorts. Now it pushed up a lot to 0.00627 yesterday, right into the daily TBO cloud and the fast line. This is our opportunity to enter a short position. Okay, we got that yesterday with Jasmy. We also got it with another chart, H bar, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. Now these are all green here because of some bullish signs. Now Tau, this is one that I shared that I have a short position open on. Let me go ahead and grab it over here. Yep, over here on AllTrading. So you can see that I took some profit out. I entered my short here at about 167, and I took some profit here. Why? There were no bullish signals in regards to the TBO, but if we go to the 4-hour time frame, check it out. We had a TBT bullish divergence over here. When I saw this and I knew the price was approaching this previous low at 142, I was like, I'm going to take a little bit out. So it hasn't hurt me at all. I still have my position open. In fact, because I've taken profit, now here's my average entry. Here's my stop loss just inside of my break-even level. So the price could still push up another 17%. And if I get stopped out, I get stopped out in profit, which is one of the reasons why I really like using the AllTrading platform. I still think that it can go lower, though. I still do. All right, let's go back to TradingView. So it's bullish, it's green, because it had a bullish engulfing candle. However, we've seen these before and it gets rejected. So it's very flimsy. Night, this one confirmed a TBT bullish divergence, a second one. That's really interesting. But these are always going to be early and they're quite flimsy. We've seen a lot of these, by the way, in the 4-hour time frame, for those of you that have been paying attention. But seeing these does not mean bullish move incoming. Nope, because it keeps falling lower and lower. Inevitably, eventually they'll be right. It is interesting to see this low from Friday, and we're putting in a higher low. That's a good sign. I'm not going to lie. It's not bad. And seeing this on the daily, that's good too. On-balance volume is above the moving average, but it's still in strong bearish mode below the daily cloud. Ton confirmed its first TBT bullish divergence since back over here in December. Now, even though this is a yellow tag, it's not this green triangle. That's because this is a cluster. A cluster is basically highlighting a TBT divergence, bullish one or bearish, that prints within 7 candles. So it's just giving us a heads up nudge. All right. Does this mean that Ton coin is going to pump? I don't know. All I know is that these are really early and the macro trend is still very bearish for Ton coin, for the TBO, for on-balance volume, for the weekly time frame, very bearish still. XPL had a big push up yesterday. If you guys have been, again, watching my videos, you know that, yes, we had some good bullish reversal signs here, TBT bullish reversions cluster. Since then, it's shot up 15%. Cool. What's the macro trend, though? It's bearish. So even if plasma gets a chance to push up here to the fast line, it will inevitably intersect with TBO resistance or support, previous support, which is now resistance. That would be an opportunity to short, just like back over here on the 28th and 29th of January, when it moved up here to 13 cents and it fell 50%. Hype. This one had a green close yesterday, 5.8%. Wow, that's exciting. Has it changed the trajectory of RSI? Nope. Has it changed the trajectory of on-balance volume? Nope. Is volume still falling? Yep. So is that a good move? It's not terrible. It's not bad per se. If anything, I think it hit above resistance. Yeah, cool. But it's in bearish consolidation. This is exactly what happens in consolidation. Inevitably, this will fall lower. Quant continues to hug for a fourth day in a row the daily TBO fast line. I'm still expecting a bearish drop for Quant. We also have a TPT bearish divergence here. About time on the 4-hour. Bitcoin Cash finally dropped below this range. I'm still expecting it to fall a lot lower. We'll see what happens. HBAR, this one tagged the fast line yesterday. People in the Better Traders Club actually caught an entry on that because I've been warning them about this too. So congrats. FF, again, see these tags right here of the fast line, drops 5%. Here's another one, drops 6%. So we have another one. Another one bites the dust. Sky, this one has 2 TBO closed longs on the 4-hour time frame. It hasn't plunged or plummeted yet, but it's blue because it's warning us that there should be a bearish reversal coming up soon. MYX, this one had a crazy dump on Wednesday of 45%, printed a TBO closed long. Yesterday's volatility was nuts. I did see it pushing up, and I had a small smidge of FOMO, looking at it push up 15%, going, oh man, I'm totally missing out on that. But I remembered, wait, it dumped 45%. I don't want to buy this. There's a good reason why it dumped. Look at that volume. That's insane. So could it push back up? Of course it could. But it's real risky with leverage. With spot, you could afford to DCA something like this, but it's risky. River, now we're into these red flags. These are just letting us know to keep an eye out for these charts. I'm very impressed with River pushing up, 40% in a day, tagging the fast line. That's impressive. Now, do we have strength with RSI? It closed at 53.98. It by no means is this overbought. Volume yesterday, it underperformed in terms of the average. On-balance volume continues to trend lower. So it's a tag. It's interesting, but I don't necessarily see this pushing up a lot higher personally, but we'll see what happens. Lighter, this one continues to wake up and test overhead resistance after piercing it and testing it over and over and over. Keep an eye on it. It might actually break out like Astra has. Morpho had an okay-ish bounce yesterday off of daily TBO support, but not anything incredible. And Monad, it's right here at resistance. So I got stopped out of my short position here on Monad. It's okay. I get stopped out. We move on. If it breaks above resistance, there's a good chance that it might do another Astra move. Now onto your picks. Barachain, crazy pump over here on Wednesday. That is absolutely nuts. Seeing the price come right up here to tag this level, the top of a cloud on a very strong bearish chart. That's insane. It did print a TBO close short on Wednesday. This is a pump and dump move. It failed to close above resistance. It actually put in a lower pivot high right here yesterday, confirming it, and it's coming back down to the fast line. No, I'm not looking to buy this coin. Onyx coin, it has a TBO close short on the 4-hour time frame, which is why these are all orange. So these are bullish reversal signals. However, we've seen these before and nothing happens. A little bit of a move right here, cool, 11%, nothing happens. The thing is that the macro trend wins, and it's still very strong bearish on the daily time frame. Kita, this one also has 3 confirmed TBO close shorts on the 4-hour. It's kind of high above support, about 11%. But this is one of the few charts that I'm looking at right now, or I've been watching. Let me say it differently. This is one of the few charts that we're looking at today. I'm not watching this chart all the time. That is actually holding in a sideways range, whereas everything else is just dumping lower and lower. That's admirable. FHE. This one had a TBO close long on Wednesday. Very bearish. Note the first one back over here. Don't mess with these guys. When you see these, We don't panic here. We wait for the price to come up and tag the fast line to exit if we previously entered here at our open long. So instead of selling at a loss of 121, we sell at a bigger profit at 156, but we don't enter a long here. This is our, you might want to consider getting out alerts. And look at the second one right here. Now the price is down crazy from the fast line, 56% and falling. Okay, I don't know what's happening with the project, with the team. I don't care. Everything is, it's below the cloud. All you have to know about it is that it's strong bearish below the cloud. The next level of support is here, right there at 0.01556, which from the current price is another drop of approximately 67%. Grass. All right. Grass had some volume yesterday, which is interesting, not abnormal, not crazy like we saw on the 20th of November. It's just a little bit over average. There has to be a better chart than this. The KuCoin was just too low volume for me to really get into it. Okay, so it did fall down to this support. It's our 10-10 support level. There's a show of volume here, buying the bottom. Okay, cool. It's still macro bearish still on the daily, especially on the weekly as well. All right, Solana, strong bearish. No big changes. It's going to go a lot lower. Render, strong bearish. Not looking great. Support levels are actually a lot lower because we don't have the full history of the chart. We'd have to do render RNDR, which we don't even have that anymore. I think it's, oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Great. So down here at 45 cents. There we go. Now, for some stock requests, MicroStrategy. Yes, I saw Michael Saylor's interview. I mentioned it earlier. MicroStrategy has some of these artificial support levels as well. Actually, the first one got respected right here. If I go over here and do my horizontal ray, not yet, actually, at 101. Then we have this level. Actually, I need to take that away. Take that away. All right, the next levels to look at are right here, 43. Another pivot level is here, 30. Down here, right? It's just getting lower and lower. And then ultimately, if things get really bad, here. I don't expect that to happen. If we were to put a Fibonacci extension from this, or rather Fibonacci retracement, now I have to group everything together so it's not super duper messy. Great. So it's most likely going to be falling a lot lower because it's emulating or mimicking the price action of Bitcoin. I think a good level of support is honestly here to 382 at about 31.85. Now, as far as like their balance sheet, what they're doing, all that stuff, I don't have that information. I don't pay attention to that. I don't really care. All I can tell you is that the chart's macro bearish. On the weekly, it's already been below the cloud. Weekly RSI is extremely bearish. On balance volume is very bearish as well. So no good news for that chart. Netflix, also very bearish. I was surprised. I didn't know what's been happening with Netflix, but I want you to see something right here. TVT bearish divergence clusters, super early, and it pushed up 88% higher. So let's just say, nope, that wasn't accurate. These are mostly configured for crypto. But look, TBO closed longs. When I see these, and I see a lot of them print together, no matter the time frame, but the weekly time frame is one of the strongest time frames I use. 3 of them. That's a huge warning flag at $114. Since then, Netflix has dropped 33%, and it's in danger of falling below the weekly cloud. Really bad. Weekly RSI is at 9.02, lower than the April 2022 level of 10.79. I don't know what's happening, but this is one of the roughest charts I've seen in a while. It actually has the lowest weekly RSI level ever. Now, does this mean that this is an incredible dip buy opportunity? Not by any means. No. What I'd be looking for in terms of a dip buy opportunity would be at least falling to like previous levels of support and waiting for the chart to bottom out. There's no reason to preemptively get into a chart like this at all. We haven't even seen any breakdowns. So it's pretty rough. PayPal, even worse. I was shocked because I mean, I have to use PayPal to do some money transfer stuff. I am so shocked to see weekly RSI at 5.3. The low it had over here in 2022 is 5.31. TBO breakdowns, by the way, look at that. It's almost to the lows of 2015 at 30. That's insane. Absolutely crazy strong bearish. Now, in regards to the future of these charts, this is where I fall short, admittedly, with stocks. Like, I don't know what would be causing this. I don't really care to look because I'm not buying stocks. It's a lot easier with crypto because I still believe the 4-year cycle is legit. So in terms of crypto, I know I'm waiting for Bitcoin to bottom out. Then that's going to be my big signal to start allocating into alts. But with stocks, if we're looking at, like I said before, basically it's a potential bear market coming with S&P futures looking really weak and shaky, and maybe a 25% drawdown, maybe down over here to like 52.81 or so. It's going to crush PayPal, Netflix, MicroStrategy, all those stocks. It's going to crush them. Okay. So I think it's a lot smarter to take a wait and see response with a lot of things. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to buying the dip, buying the bottom, you really want to wait for the bottom to reveal itself to you. And you'll know there should be a massive capitulation wick, lots of volume to show that there's a lot of support for buying at that level. And you want to see the price stabilize. There's no need to catch falling knives. You want to wait for those knives to hit the ground and go and stay. Then you can start allocating. There's no need to preemptively set these buy orders. Just wait patiently. That's the easiest thing I can tell you to do. Easy. All right. So until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.